Hey YouTube! So I'm back with another weekly this week. I actually got back in time. I have today off. I had my preview in Wyoming and it was alright. I played okay. Altitude sucks. I'm going to be talking about breathing next week, perhaps. Maybe the week after that. Because I got a suggestion for it, but I decided before I can talk about breathing, I really need to talk about posture, that scary word. And I've got a whole long list of things to talk about. So I guess we'll get started. Well, to start with, posture is just incredibly important for brass players. The problem is there's lots of people, maybe not lots, but lots of like top soloists and stuff that you'll look at and be like, well, they don't have good posture. The problem is that they have the talent and the other things that make up for it and they don't really need to use it. I had a teacher in drum corps who would talk about Alan Vizzuti, and he would just get so annoyed because Alan Vizzuti can just sit here like this and just play perfectly all the time, which is kind of a bad example because most people can't do that. And so realize when you look at other people and they don't have perfect posture that it may work for them, or that, you know, it might improve if they use good posture, and just try and do it for yourself and not think about other people. So, you know, the first thing it's really important for is breathing, and I'll talk about this next week or the week after. But in order to really breathe well, and brass playing is all about air, you need to be able to sit well, stand well, so you can breathe. Second thing is movement. So, you know, most instruments, you're not going to be doing a whole lot of movement, but it's really good to have the best efficient way to do it instead of doing it the hardest way. And especially with trombone, you need to be able to move a good, significant part of your body like all the time. And if you can't do that, then you're going to have a hard time playing the instrument. Number 3 is efficiency, and I just kind of brought that up. But if you have good posture, then you don't have to worry about it. You're not worrying about holding your instrument up or sitting or standing well. You just kind of set, and then you can play, and you can worry about the music and not posture all the time. Fourth thing is strain. And the fifth thing is injuries, kind of the same thing. If you have good posture, and this, you know, people will argue this point, your likelihood of getting injured or having strain on your joints and muscles and stuff, your tendons, what have you, I think is lower. And that's a huge boon. I mean, I'd rather not get injured playing the trombone. I know lots of trombone players have messed up right or left shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers, probably not so much the right arm, like necks, backs, all sorts of things. And, you know, other instruments, same deal, just maybe different injuries. So I think having good posture can really help with a lot of this stuff. And, I mean, for me, it really has. I used to have lots of issues with, like, my left shoulder and whatnot, and really working on posture and the right stuff for my trombone has done a lot of good for me. Alright, so there's 4 or 5 different advantages to using good posture while playing a brass instrument. And you can use this for general posture in normal life. You'll notice when I make these videos, I don't always sit perfectly, and I don't just like face the camera and go blah 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 blah. I kind of move around, I sit like crap. I like to slouch when I sit in a chair. I just make sure that, you know, from time to time I get set. And when I play, I only use good posture. Only. There was one time in jazz band like 3 years ago at UW in college, and I was like, you know what? I want to slouch this one time. And I sat back and played like this, and the director was like, you look like a middle school kid. And I was like, okay, that's the last time I'm ever going to do it. And I had used good posture for like 3 years before that too, so use good posture. It's good for you. Alright, so first thing is alignment. And pretty much all posture is about alignment, especially with the torso, most of your body. And there's 3 axes. There's the axis this way, so, you know, like side to side, doing the dance. There's the axis this way, front to back, moving your head forwards and sideways and stuff. And then the axis of twist, so this. And basically you want to make all of those 0. You want to kind of just zero them out, have everything right on top of each other, one line. Hopefully you're not twisting, you're not going this way, you're not moving forward when you play the trombone, or you're not going this way and this and this and this. You want to just kind of zero all that out and have none of it, because that's the best thing for your back. So the first thing is the spine, and of course that's like the most important part. That's where all the axes come from. And you know the spine starts down here in your tailbone. I'm not sure if you can see that. It starts in your tailbone, which is not quite hitting the chair, and it goes all the way up to here, not down here somewhere. It goes all the way up to here, slightly in the back of your head. And this is very important, you know, like bone, and it's what keeps us together. It's why we're called vertebrates. We have bones, backbone, and it's the most important part about posture, basically. And most people, I'm going to face this way just because this is the easiest way to explain this. Most people tend to curve the spine one way or another. Lots of people, I can't remember the words, but I think this is supinate when you go this way. Lots of people do this. Lots of girls do this. This is really popular with girls. And they'll just kind of bend this in. You can kind of see how this curves in right here. And that puts a lot of stress on your lower back and makes it so you can't breathe as well. And lots of people also like to slouch, so they curve it out. And that puts also stress on your back and makes it hard to breathe. So basically anything makes it hard to breathe. And this will take lots of work and like checking in a mirror, like sitting, like laying on the floor. If you guys really want, I can show you things. And there's actually, I have a stretch video where I do a lot of this stuff. It's probably the best resource to find where your flat back is. And I'm kind of easy example to look at because I'm really skinny, so you can actually see a flat back. That might not be the case for everybody, I understand, and scoliosis can interfere with this. But just finding that flat back where you're not sitting forward, you're not pitching forward, rolling the hips under, or doing this and rolling them back, finding that flat back is very difficult. And I should say that twisting, which was my third axis, that's probably one of the least important axes. I mean, I hate to excuse it, but I have to twist just a little bit to go out to like 6th, 7th positions. Just, I can't, I mean, you can like bring your right shoulder out and stuff, but I have to twist just a little bit to get up to outer positions. So don't worry about the twist so much, but yeah, really try and eliminate that stuff. And when I'm not playing outer positions, I don't twist. So the best way to think of a flat back is just have everything above the next thing. The problem is, of course, is that it's really hard to feel exactly where your body is without seeing it. So get to a mirror. I have one here. And we did this all the time in drum corps. You go to a mirror and you stand in front of it, like maybe face it the first time, and you get all of these things in alignment. So your second axis, or no, I guess it's the first one I brought up, the left to right axis. And that should be relatively easy, unless you have scoliosis. Some people tend to do this if they have scoliosis. And in that case, I'm probably not talking to you. I'm not an expert, so don't quote me. But if you don't have scoliosis, go to a mirror, check all these things out, center everything. A tendency for a lot of people is to kind of lean their head one way, lean their head the other way, kind of like scoot their head one way or another, kind of like favor one side. Some people kind of like do this, you know. Try and zero all that stuff out in front of the mirror. And then, when you're feeling confident about that, you turn to the side, try and find your best alignment, and the first time you do it, it'll probably be like this, and you'll look, and you'll be like, oh my god, that's horrible, and be like, murr, 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 murr. Oh man, there you go. And that's really hard, and it takes time and effort and muscles and stretching and all sorts of things to get good verticality or good stacking, just a good alignment. And I don't know if you heard that when I was talking and I moved my head forward like this, my voice got worse and like thinner. So you kind of hear why that posture is so important. So, like I said, making a line, stacking everything on top of each other. So moving up, you know, this is pretty easy to get flat. It's just like one piece. There's no extra bits. And then you get to your shoulders, and shoulders are like a huge issue for a lot of people. They tend to pitch them forwards, tend to pitch them backwards. You know, you just saw my back curving like this because I moved my shoulders. Basically, you want to find the most natural position for them to rest, and then maybe move them back a little bit. My shoulders, back in the old days in high school and stuff, were probably over here. That's pretty common. You just kind of like hollow out this chest area, and you kind of sit like this. It's, you know, it's comfortable. And you kind of have to realize that in order to get in alignment, those have to come back and down. And nowadays, that's just where my shoulders rest. It's really comfortable to just let them rest like that. That feels good. So we get to the shoulders, and I'm kind of speeding through this, but this is going to take a while to get used to. And then you get to the neck and the head. And these are the most important things. And they're probably the biggest issue I see with most trombone players. Pretty much everyone that I see, including me to a certain point, likes to pitch their head forward a little bit. Everything else can be in great alignment, and then you got your head forward. And that closes off your airway. It puts pressure on the little muscles here with your spine, puts pressure back here, all sorts of bad things. This needs to come up and think up. And just the problem is lots of people will think up and they'll be like, okay, and they'll kind of like reach forward and up with their head. And this is where you really need to spend time with the mirror and find that equilibrium. I'm not even sure if I'm right now. Let me check. Yeah, that's all right. It's pretty good. I'll do this all the time with public. I'll just be like sitting around. I'm like, oh no, is my head too far forward? There we go. So you get the idea. This all needs to be in alignment. And of course, you do it without an instrument, and then you pick up an instrument and you check again. Make sure you're not changing. The problem is a lot of people, they might find that good alignment this way, and then they'll pick up an instrument and they'll put it here and they'll go, okay. And they'll move their face to the instrument instead of bringing the instrument to them. So find that perfect alignment. Don't change anything. Ta-da! Don't change that stuff. And really, the head and neck is the biggest issue I see with pretty much everybody. And like I said here, it determines your horn angle. So in drum corps we learned chins up a little bit. And so I kind of, you know, I used to be like this a lot. I would kind of look down, have this kind of down, and then, you know, I kind of changed that in drum corps, kind of look up a little bit. It just looks better. It's, you know, it gives you a little more presence, and that also improves your horn angle. Most people have, and I shouldn't say most people, I'm not going to generalize here, but a lot of people play just a little bit down. The horn angle is just a little bit down. I have an overbite, so my top jaw is a little over the under jaw, so when I put everything together, there's like a slight angle that the mouthpiece goes against. And if I put my chin up, that means I play pretty much straight forward with the trombone. And that is such a big deal. I see so many players, they might have, you know, okay posture, but then they play like this. And they'll play like a 45-degree angle to the ground. And you can't do that. It's just horrible. I mean, the sound just goes nowhere, bounces off the floor, and then it's never seen again. And I've gotten so many compliments and comments just on the fact that I play like straight forward and my sound just goes straight to the audience, straight into the mic, straight to whatever I'm pointing at instead of the floor. Especially like jazz band. I mean, anything. It's just so important. Like, I'll get comments where I'm overbalancing people even though I'm playing, you know, the same dynamic or quieter just because I'm projecting more. It's so important. See, this is very important for me. So anyway, that determines the horn angle. You really just have to check this out on your own. It takes forever. Probably took me at least 2 years, 2 or 3 years to really get a good posture and just kind of use it all the time. That's just how it goes. And of course, there's the arms and hands. Like I said, keep the shoulders down and back. I don't like to think too far back because that, you know, it puts more stress up here. really just down is my thing, but since a lot of people tend to roll them forwards, back is a good comment. And the best, finding the best angle for your arms is really important. I put my slide at a 90-degree angle all the time. Bink, 90 degrees. So just the way this goes together determines how my arms are going to be. And the most important thing for me is keeping my wrists straight. That's the thing from drum corps we did, just like to make it look better so you're not breaking it this way or this way. And one, it looks better. That's not super important. The second thing is that it's better for your wrists to be straight instead of constantly flexing one way or the other. So I found the best angle for my left arm, which is the most important one, to just keep that wrist straight all the time. And I'm not even sure how far out that is right now. I used to kind of like do this and try and look cool. You don't really need to look cool when you play trombone. It's not that important. Keep those wrists straight, minimize your injuries. That's the most important thing. And I'm not going to say anything about the right wrist and slide stuff, because man, slide technique is a whole other world. And people say mine is good, but I don't know how to teach it, so I'm just not even gonna go there. I like to say curved fingers for valves. Those of you who play valve instruments. A lot of people will say flat fingers for valves. I just say curved. It's like almost. Oh, I actually have one here. It's like you're holding a tennis ball, but you put your hand on the horn, and that's just the best way that I play with valves. Things like rotary valves on tubas and stuff, you can play very easily with flat fingers. That may be better. I'm not sure. I like curved fingers. And then, of course, finding the optimal position, especially if you play bass or tenor with an F attachment for your fingers. I play pretty much with my fingertips, and it's just, I find the best place for my paddles, and I scoot them around. Some don't have adjustable paddles, but you can like bend them and stuff. Just be really careful. I used to do that with Kings. Finding the best place so you're not straining, you're not ever like moving too much of your finger, it's not upsetting your tendons in your arm. It's really important. And of course I use a Sheridan Get a Grip. Not everybody has one of these, but it's the best thing for me. And then in the last 2 minutes here, this is the longest weekly ever, I was going to talk about standing. And standing is just exactly the same as sitting, posture-wise, except you're standing up. And the problem is, since you are standing up, your hips, in general, will want to roll back. You really want to roll them forward and keep this in alignment. Because if you let them roll back, it's putting stress on this lower back, etc. You just really want to avoid that. Stand on both feet. This is the most important thing really about standing up. Lots of people kind of like favor one hip or the other. Just keep everything in alignment. Keep both hips connected to both of your legs, and keep all 4 points of distribution in your feet on the ground, and you'll play better. And I mean, it's getting kind of technical. I won't really talk about that too much, mainly because I'm running out of time. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about standing up. So if you guys have questions about posture, more intimate things, like more details, let me know, and yeah, give me more suggestions. I'll talk about breathing next time. See you guys.